Yippee-ki-yay, movie lovers, I'm Jan, and in this video I'm breaking down the ending of Cobra Kai Season 3, what it means for Season 4, and revealing all the clever details and secret Easter eggs to previous seasons and all the Karate Kid movies. Spoilers ahead of course, so take care. After several seasons of will they won't they, Daniel and Johnny have finally joined karate forces to solve their shared problem, how to give Kreese and his Cobra Kai the chop for good. Teaching Kreese a lesson wasn't really something Daniel thought he was up to before, as he told us back in the 80s.
That guy just doesn't know what karate's all about.
Yeah, well maybe he should learn.
Would you like to teach him?
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see that moment mentioned in some way in Season 4. After all, the showrunners are self-professed superfans that go deep with their references, from visual nods like Fernandez meat stickers to episode titles like Ace Degenerate.
You're still the Ace Degenerate.
No, X-Degenerate, man.
Indeed, Johnny's come quite a way, even just this season. I mean, look at how in episode 1 he's punching car windows a la John Kreese, but by the end he couldn't be further removed from his old sensei as he's teamed up with his old rival. As Mr. Miyagi put it in one of his letters that Kimiko reads to Danny,
"In life, we always lose our way, but it is people, not the signs, that guide us back to the right path."
Now, the season finale saw friends who'd become enemies reunited as friends once more, and while Daniel and Johnny might not be best buds exactly.
So, have the man boys filled you in on the whole mortal enemy karate dojo battling for the soul of the valley thing?
They are allies now at least, so they're on the right path. After all, as Ali told them,
and the truth is, you guys are more alike than you want to admit.
Or as Kreese would say,
the enemy of your enemy is your friend.
Interestingly, when Kreese said those words to Hawk earlier this season, he was talking about Robbie, who'd put their fellow Cobra Miguel in a coma, but had now turned against Daniel and Miyagi-Do. So it's clear that Kreese is just using Robbie to get what he wants, revenge.
You know, when I was overseas, it was hard to tell who was the enemy.
In fact, Kreese has got Robbie so brainwashed, thinking that mercy is a weakness for losers, that he can't see Kreese as the real enemy, not his dad or Daniel.
I won't fight you. You are weak.
Indeed, Robbie thinks Kreese is the good guy.
He only wants what's best for you.
Given everything Johnny knows about his old sensei, seeing his kids side with him and the way Kreese calls Robbie son must really hurt. After all, we saw how Johnny reacted when he discovered Daniel was training Robbie in Season 1. Still, as Daniel told Johnny this season,
the whole reason these kids got into trouble was because of us. We can't let them suffer because of our issues. The only way to end this is by working together.
In other words, just as Kreese told Daniel in episode 1 about their eventual face-off, this was all inevitable. And that's because this whole situation is as much about the past as it is about the present. The showrunners have said they really care about their titles and often tie them thematically to the episode's content and to the original movies. And the date in this title does both, as it's the day Daniel beat Johnny in the 1984 All-Valley tournament. Kreese still hasn't got over what happened that day, as his whole philosophy of life and karate lost to Mr. Miyagi's diametrically opposed ethos. Although his own actions afterwards caused him to lose all his students and go broke, he placed the blame elsewhere. And while his and his old army buddies' schemes for payback at the next tournament failed in the Karate Kid 3, he's obviously hoping it's third time lucky.
Why don't we settle this the old-fashioned way? Tournament. If we lose, I go. If you lose,
we won't lose.
But will Kreese actually leave peacefully if he does lose? Quite possibly not, because as Johnny said,
you can't trust him.
By the way, notice how Kreese looks at Johnny when he says, if you lose, because he's goading him about his second place back in 1984, something Kreese took very personally.
Second place is no place, you're off the team. You're nothing, you lost, you're a loser.
This season went into Kreese's backstory, and we learned that as a young man he was more like Hawk, Miguel or Tori, dealing with a rough life, family hardships and bullies. And like them, he took to heart some flawed lessons from an authority figure, modelling himself after his captain in Vietnam, adopting not just his interest in martial arts and his cigar habit, but most damagingly, his kill or be killed, shed your humanity, merciless attitude. Kreese led his students down that same wrong path, and decades later one of them did the same with his own students until he wised up. But with Kreese in the Cobra Kai driving seat again, he's perpetuating the cruel no mercy cycle, passing it on to a new generation.
This will never be over, LaRusso, you hear me?
And treating school kids like they're in a war.
The fight at the school was an embarrassment. You lost soldiers and you lost the battle.
Fighting his mentor in Vietnam was a seminal moment for Kreese becoming the man we know today. Interestingly, it only happened because he stepped in to save his army pal Silver. But when their allies arrived, bringing with them the possibility that both Kreese and his captain could make it out of their battle to the death alive, Kreese made a choice about the kind of man he wanted to be. In a way, in the finale, Johnny is also only there fighting his mentor because of someone else, his protege Miguel, who's been badly beaten by the Cobra Kai kids. And just as Kreese took over from his captain after their fight, Season 4 will likely bring a similar opportunity for Johnny. But back in the here and now, Johnny refuses to fight his son as, unlike Kreese, he's no longer willing to continue his mentor's merciless cycle with the younger generation, because as he told his students,
I wasn't taught the difference between mercy and honor, and I paid the price for it.
In fact, he even vetoed them fighting dirty.
The baddest badass is the one who beats his opponent when he's at his strongest, not when his back is turned.
But just as Kreese's captain tried to exploit his humanity by revealing his girlfriend's death right before their fight, Kreese himself is happy to take advantage of Johnny's humanity as he tends to his unconscious son. And look what's in shot right after that, an All Valley tournament poster reminding us what this is all about and how it will end. Kreese reverts to his old Karate Kid Part 2 ways when he starts to choke Johnny. It's not the first time we've seen Kreese get him in a chokehold in this series, though last time he was demonstrating the move in class rather than actually trying to take him out. But as Kreese said at the top of the season, he thought he and Johnny would be fighting Daniel together, which is what I think he means when he tells Johnny,
This isn't how I wanted this to end.
And the way he kicks Johnny away here after choking him reminds me of how Johnny pushed Kreese away after using the chokehold on him when he first arrived back in Season 2. As for how Kreese deals with Daniel when he turns up, let's just say there's definitely a recurring theme of smashing his opponents into glass in the show, which is likely a callback to when he and his buddy Silver fought Mr. Miyagi in the third Karate Kid movie. Of course, in the second movie, Kreese also kept smashing his fists into car windows as he failed repeatedly to punch Danny's sensei. And while Kreese can't stop resorting to dirty tactics,
Time for you and Miyagi to reunite.
he's once again outmaneuvered by Miyagi-Do techniques, this time the secret pressure points that Chosen taught Danny.
If an enemy insists on war, then you take away their ability to wage it.
Given he was interrupted by his daughter, I wonder if next season they'll address how Danny would have ended that fight. It certainly didn't feel like he was going out in Mr. Miyagi style. A couple of other interesting details here are the colours Daniel and Johnny are wearing, reminiscent of their showdown at the end of the first film. Also, this image of Sam with her father and Miguel beside Johnny just as Robbie arrives would doubtless reinforce in Robbie's mind his earlier accusation that his dad treats Miguel more like a son than him. And just as the Season 2 finale used a phone to foreshadow the return of another original movie character for the next season, this time a phone call by Kreese lets us know that the third film's main villain, his army pal Terry Silver, will be turning up in Season 4. In the show, a young Silver goes by the nickname Twig and only makes it out of Vietnam alive thanks to his friend.
I owe you, man. You saved my ass. Anything you need, I'm there for you. You hear me, Johnny? Your whole life, I owe you.
Given the phone call then, it looks like we'll see actor Thomas Ian Griffith, who played Silver in the movie, back in action, especially as he said only last year that it'd be fun to see the whole gang again. Silver's been happily repaying Kreese's life-saving over the years, from founding Cobra Kai for him to wreaking revenge on Daniel and Miyagi when Kreese went out of business. And with just how much Silver reveled in sneaking around and inflicting pain and humiliation back in the 80s, I'm sure he'll love teaming up with Kreese again to give Daniel, Johnny and their students a taste of the nasty medicine he thinks they deserve for everything they've done to his old army friend. I wonder what devious schemes he'll dream up this time. Now, when it came to fighting Silver and Kreese in the movie, Mr. Miyagi easily defeated them. But how will Daniel and Johnny do in the show? Of course, Ralph Macchio and William Zabka are the stars of the series, so they'll certainly triumph in the end. But the writers have got 10 episodes, that's over 5 hours, compared to a 2-hour movie. So I imagine we'll get some standoffs between the adult leads before their final big showdown, and a lot of training and confrontations for the younger characters before the tournament. And if you haven't had enough Cobra Kai yet, you can discover more of the amazing details cleverly hidden in the show in my Things You Missed video. Tap here to watch that or follow the link in the video description. So, what did you think of the latest season and what would you like to see happen in Season 4? Leave your comments below. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it's hugely appreciated. Now tap left for my next video or tap right for something else you're sure to like. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!